As fantastic a CFP as Mel O is, as wonderful an attorney as I am, and as good as Stormy is at whatever it is he does, please do note that anything said in our podcasts are our opinions alone and are not meant to be taken as financial or legal advice.
Welcome to Finances, the Other F Word, a Gen Xer podcast for musicians and music lovers, where we discuss money and music without all the pretentious bullshit. Here are your hosts, Zoe Terry, attorney at large, Stormy Andrews, founder of Yokel Local Marketing, and Mel O, certified financial planner and author of Finances, the Other F Word. Listener discretion is advised.
Welcome back to Finances, the Other F Word. Thank you for joining us again. I don't care if that sounds dated. I'm totally okay with my age. So today on the episode, we're going to be talking with each of our beautiful co-hosts about a CD, or cassette in Stormy's case, that changed their life. But before we do any of that, we need to revisit the Glastonbury Festival where we left off at the end of last podcast.
The what?
Last podcast with Peck, the Beck cover band. And so Zoe has done a little bit of homework, and she is now going to prove to us that A, she was really actually at the concert, and actually try to name some bands that we might even know.
Well, actually, I can't prove I was there because it's still a little bit hazy. But
Do you have a ticket stub?
Do I have
Ticket stub will work.
Oh, well, I'd have to do some digging for that. But I'm fairly sure it was 1997.
She probably put it in her bra and it disintegrated.
Yeah, well,
That's what I would have
might
done.
not have, no, I was going to say I might not have been wearing a bra, but I was always wearing a bra. I
Yeah,
wasn't
and it's
lucky
97, not 77.
70, right?
Yeah,
Exactly.
or 67.
And probably even in 77, I probably needed one. But anyway.
You're wearing one now, right? That's the most important thing.
I absolutely am.
Yes.
That would be shameful.
Thank you. We all appreciate that.
Well, I'm wearing one too.
So Glastonbury Festival,
Maybe work out.
Stormy. Let's stop talking about your boobs just for a second. It's been going since 1970, so I didn't make it up. I didn't dream it. It's for reals. And when I was there, as well as Beck, not Peck, the real deal, I believe I may well have seen Massive Attack, Radiohead, and then it all does get a bit fuzzy. I spent a lot of time in the comedy tent, but it was very windy and rainy and muddy.
Were you having sex with somebody
The comedy
that was in
tent.
the comedy tent?
Tell us about the comedy
Why
tent.
are you going to go to a music festival and be like,
go
I
to the
spent all
comedy
of my
tent. I wanna
time
hear
in
about
the
this
comedy
comedy
tent?
Because it's like a 4-day festival,
Okay.
and it's raining,
Okay.
and it's a tent.
And
Okay.
it's 4 days of music.
Oh, yeah, I listen to some music too, but I'm saying I also spent a good deal of time partaking of some comedy.
Did they have better drugs in the comedy tent? Is that the thing?
They may
Okay.
well have done, yes.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So that's where the real story is. Okay. So first of all, I don't even know who Massive Attack is. Radiohead, I've heard of. So name some other bands so I can see if this is legit.
The Prodigy were there.
Oh, and
Prodigy.
he just died.
I know,
Suicide.
very
Oh
sad.
my God.
Billy Bragg was there.
Don't know him. Do you?
Kula
No.
Shaker.
Who?
Govinda Jaya Jaya. Govinda Jaya Jaya. Okay.
We're
I'll
close.
stop
Sing.
What is the name of that? Is that the name of the band or the song?
That was one of the songs. You really do have
That was
to.
the hit
What was
song.
the name of the song?
Govinda
Go
Jaya.
with the Jaya Jaya. Can
Anyway.
you remember that hit?
Yeah. Oh,
It was
yeah.
a hit in
Yeah, I
English.
did skip
Jaya,
you for a second.
Okay. Anyway, Smashing
there's actually
Pumpkins.
words?
Smashing
Okay.
Pumpkins.
Okay,
you know
we're there.
those.
We're with you there.
Sting was there, but I definitely didn't see him. I think he was singing.
Comedy
I'm
was
not sure.
way more
Yeah,
important
yes.
than seeing one of the best musicians of all time.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't really remember any others, but there were lots and lots of others, and I'm just saying I believe I was there.
Okay.
Thank you.
I
And it
don't
does
know.
exist. That's all I wanted to say, and we can move on from there.
It's still skeptical. Did you at least see Prodigy?
No.
God. You know,
But that was one hell of a comedian in the tent.
that's, I know.
Tell you about it.
For 4 days, Stormy, like either he had the longest fucking set in history, or yeah, were you blowing somebody in the comedy tent? Because I honestly don't know why you spent so much time in there, even
love
with
comedy.
the rain.
It was so muddy. It was one of the muddiest years ever, to the point that I stood into a mud puddle right up to my knee at one point.
To see Beck.
This was I don't know. It was in the 90s.
I don't,
Yeah,
and I
it
don't
was in the
believe that you were
90s.
standing in any kind of mud puddle at all. You can't even
was.
remember.
No, in her knee.
Up
And-
to my knee, up
and-
to
To her
my,
knee.
up to
That's
my
some
right
pretty
knee.
serious.
That's quite deep, isn't it, for a mud puddle?
Yeah, so you should know who you were seeing on stage.
I told you, I know I saw Beck because I remember
dear
seeing
God.
2 turntables and a microphone.
Okay, the point is
is
that
it exists. That's all I wanted to clear
Wait,
up.
can you sing Beck one more time?
No.
well, so if you need further proof that your iPhones are listening to you, all of a sudden I have been inundated since the last time we recorded with Glastonbury shit.
Really?
Every time, like my news feed on my computer, on my iPhone, and apparently Janet Jackson and the Killers, and
Kylie Minogue.
she's only big over in Europe.
Oh.
She had like 2 hits
2
here,
hits.
but yeah. And then what was another big headliner is and The Cure, and a whole bunch of other
Wow.
people that I actually knew. Never have heard of this festival ever, and all of a sudden I got articles all over the place. I'm like, my phone is totally eavesdropping on me.
Oh, yeah, no question.
Yeah, which concerns me because I do a lot of things on my phone that I really don't want people to eavesdrop on because it's none of their business.
Oh,
Like
now you
what
make me
now?
want to eavesdrop,
Yeah,
eavesdrop on your phone.
You don't actually.
You don't want to know.
Yeah, if you thought your idea of me couldn't get less, I could surprise you.
You can't unsee some of the things that I've seen on her phone. That's
She's-
all I'm going to say.
She loves looking on my phone. Okay, so to get to the real purpose of today's episode, we thought it would be a lark. Is that a British term? A lark? You guys don't still say that, do you? Isn't that a bird?
It is a bird, but it's also a saying that
Is
like,
it-
maybe my grandmother would.
Yeah, Frank Sinatra.
Say.
But is it a funny bird? I mean, why?
Funny,
how would
ha-ha?
you? Yeah, like a
Funny peculiar?
Yeah, how are you gonna? I mean, a lark
No.
and a bird. But okay,
No, it's actually a very dull brown bird.
Aw. Sounds like a great British bird.
Yeah.
So everybody is going to discuss a CD, and we are going to start with our friend across the pond, Zoe. And by the way,
Zoe.
none of us know what anybody is going to be talking about, so we're just going to wing this whole thing, and we're all going to be shocked and appalled together.
Well, my CD is Purple Rain, Prince and the Revolution.
Are you guys allowed to listen to Prince over in Britain?
Yes, of course we are. And just so everyone knows, this April it will be 3 years since
3 years since he died.
he died, which is very, very sad. And there's a new Twitter coming out, #Prince, to commemorate him. So just
With a capital P. How are they going to distinguish that from Prince versus like Prince Harry or Prince William?
because it's just #Prince. I don't know. I'm just saying.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, where'd you get your intel? This is what I'm asking.
It was on NPR.
Well,
Okay.
There
so
you
for
go.
hard-hitting
Move
social trending news, you go to NPR.
Yeah. Well, I do. I don't. Where do you get yours, Fox?
From who?
Fox News.
Fox News? No, I do not. I do not watch Fox.
Okay, getting back to me then. My CD is Prince's Purple Rain. One of my friends, I was in high school in England, and one of my best friends at the time, Helga. Anybody have any comments?
Helga.
Helga.
Is that a
Yeah.
real name?
That is her
Was
real
she
name.
German?
She was not German, although she may have had some German ancestors. I
Why-
don't know. Helga,
Okay.
shout out to you. You can let us know when you respond.
Helga, please tell us why they named you that.
Yes, Helga.
Yeah, I'm very curious.
Anyway, she introduced me to Prince, and it blew my mind, and I loved this album. I listened to it over and over and over and over again, and then bought every possible album I could get, got a bootleg version of his Black album, which I just was amazed by. I just fell in love with him. It was the first live concert that I took my sister to see. There's no bad records.
Sounds like some controversy.
Mm.
Controversy.
You've been dying to get that in there, Stormy, haven't you? You've been waiting for me to shut up so you could say that.
So you got to see Prince in concert.
I've seen him. I saw him, I think, twice in England and once when he was had his residency at the Rio. Yeah.
How long was this set? Because did you ever get to see him, Stormy?
Not live.
Yeah, I never saw him at all, and I'm really sad about it. But I heard he just played and played and played and played. Was that the case or no?
Yeah, from what I can remember, although, as you know, my memory is not what it should be. But
At least she remembers going there.
yeah, and the Rio residency was the best because it was such a relatively small venue compared to having seen him at Wembley in
Right.
England. And I was fairly close And yeah, that was really good.
So this is my one observation to try to test Zoe's story here. This CD is in surprise. I don't know where's the camera is, but I'm trying to show somebody that this.
There it is.
There it is. Boom. It's in surprisingly great shape.
Because that's not the one I listened to. Of course, I had it on vinyl at the time. It wasn't.
Did you get rid of the vinyl?
Probably.
Oh, you're killing me.
But yeah, that's not the one that I listened to over and over
Favorite
again.
song?
Probably Darling Nikki, because it's rude.
Yeah, that's always my favorite too.
Yep. But I like all of them, really. But yeah.
So what you drew you to Prince besides the fact that he's obviously amazing?
There's something about him. I don't know why, even though...
Was it the sexiness of him or
Yeah,
what?
I think he was this... I mean, he is sexy. He was sexy, still is sexy. But not just everything about him. I don't know. Every CD that I got after that, or it wasn't CD, whatever, cassette. We probably was
8 tracks.
cassettes then. I don't think it was 8 tracks. I'm not that old. But yeah, every album I got, I just loved. And he's fantastic live. So
my thing with Prince is that I always thought he would be excellent at foreplay and suck in bed. I mean, that's what I've always thought. I was just like, man, like I think everything leading up to sex, he would just be amazing, and then just not really. I don't know, maybe be selfish or just not perform.
no, I don't buy that.
In
I
bed.
think he would be a tiger, a little purple tiger,
Tiger all the way through.
all the way through.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh, he has stamina. Plus, he can dance around on 4-inch heels.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But
No.
if you guys had the same shoe size, then he'd be borrowing your shoes, and it would be a whole thing.
I would have bigger feet than him. So
He was like 3 feet tall.
yeah.
Yeah, he was 4. He was, I think, 5'1" or 2.
Yeah. So
Yeah, something like that. You don't have. Oh, see, Stormy doesn't have his computer teed up, so he can't Google that crap to tell us the exact thing. I think he was 5'1" or 2. Somebody had said he was 4'11", but I don't think he was 4'11", because even then, with the 4-inch heels, he still would have only. Why would you wear 4-inch heels to only be 5'2"?
right.
I mean, that would be pretty horrible.
Are you looking it up?
He's
I was
good.
looking it up, but it's taking me a little too long.
Either
who
way,
knows?
he
probably
was-
about 5 feet.
He was a legend. He was a legend, and I just adored him, and I still do.
Well, not what I was expecting from Zoe.
Really?
Me either.
I mean, there's
Yeah.
so. It's very hard to. I mean, it's very hard to narrow it down to one. I would just say, because I loved everything he did, that was the one that got me started on Prince. But for different periods of my life, there's different albums. But for my teenage years,
It was your
That's the
first
one.
introduction. All right, Stormy. Okay.
So here's
All right,
the
blow
part
us
that
away.
sucks, okay?
What?
Because I was coming in with, this is what it sounds like when doves,
Doves Cry?
Absolutely. That was it. And it's on the Purple Rain, Purple Rain album. That's a problem with us not rehearsing this. But I'll go with a different song. But I do have to tell my this is what it sounds like when doves cry, right? Mm-hmm. Because I would play that song over and over and over again. Now remember, this is the time. Well, not remember because you don't know, but this is between my 8th and 9th grade year of going from junior high school to high school. We're in the early 80s. I got my first boombox.
Did you have a Jerry curl? I need to know.
I was thinking about the Jerry curl. I may have had a Jerry curl. Who knows? With Soul Glow.
I want I want pictures. It's from Coming to
I'll
America.
have to find it. From Coming
Yeah.
to America, Soul Glow. So,
What your
I
soul
glow.
Sorry. I have it in my head now.
So I get this boombox. I wanted a boombox. And it was a little Magnavox, a Magnavox boombox.
Mm-hmm.
So one, it was cool to have a boombox, but it was not cool to have a Magnavox boombox, right?
Isn't it a Magnavox?
It was a Magnavox.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay. Are you
VOX.
saying that? Is that what you're saying? Because it sounds like you're
Magnavox.
saying magma with a B somewhere.
Well, because I'm saying boombox, so Vox, V-O-X. So I had a Magnavox boombox.
Good save.
It was probably, back in those days, you were supposed to get a big boombox, right? Mine was probably, I don't know, maybe a foot long. And I mean, it was just the puniest, dinkiest boombox ever. And I used to carry it next to my ear.
Mm-hmm. They take like 8 D batteries.
This is what, a ton of D batteries. This is what it sounds like when doves cry. I'm playing it over and over and over again. As a matter of fact, I wore out that tape. And prior to that, my favorite tape was the Chipmunks Sings Pop.
Oh no.
Bullshit. I call bullshit. You made the leap from the Chipmunks to fucking Prince. I call massive bullshit on
I did
that.
have Chipmunks, but that was early in grade school. I remember
He still
that.
listens to him. He's
I still
lying.
listen to it. But yes, what got me into music was Prince. This is what it sounds like when doves cry. Over and over again. There was a summer vacation. It reminds me of that. For me, what's the Kid Rock song?
Oh, the Alabama, where he takes the Alabama and the Werewolf of London song and mixes it.
No, the one where he's singing, I was only 17.
Yeah, that's
she was
that.
somewhere in between. Yeah, that one.
Yeah, that's the
so
song I
that
just said.
song.
Yes, that exact song. You're right.
exact
No,
song.
You're
no,
totally
not that
right.
one.
No,
Not
not
that
that
one. The other one.
The
That's
other
just
one.
like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that song reminds me so much of the summer when I had my Magnavox boombox playing Prince.
So now, did you? Because now I'm grabbing.
Mine was a
Zoe's
cassette
CD.
tape.
Yeah, yours. So that's why.
Oh, and I loved Darling Nikki. I played that over and over again.
When
Had
that-
some Rick James going on at the same time.
So I'm thinking, because I'm trying to remember, and so back in the day, for y'all millennials who don't have that nostalgia for tapes, you don't get the pain of having a song that you absolutely love and then having to fucking rewind that
Rewind
shit
it,
all the
yeah.
time. And there is these little dials on it. So if the song that you liked was not at the very end of the cassette or at the very beginning of the cassette, then you had to catch it in the middle with the little timer so you could keep rewinding it to get to the beginning of the song.
Well, sometimes you got good because I would play the rewinder where I wouldn't press it down all the way so you can get a little bit of sound. So you hear the.
That's why you ruined your tape.
Yes,
Yes.
that's exactly. Well, but it was a pain in the ass having to rewind it from the beginning and find the spot of what I wanted to listen to. But fortunately, on this particular cassette, most of the songs were pretty darn good. So it wasn't horrible.
That's
it wasn't
right.
like back in the day where they had 2 good songs and the rest were just crap.
Right.
This one you could go over and over again.
Because I'm looking at, based on the CD listing, so number 5 song is Darling Nikki,
Yep.
which we love. And then number 6 is When Doves Cry. And so that is going to put either When Doves Cry at the very beginning of the second side or at the second
side,
song.
you're thinking albums.
No, I'm
There's
thinking
no-
Of the
it's
cassette.
Oh, the
tape.
Of the
cassette tape,
cassette.
right?
Yeah.
Right, the cassette
So
tape.
are you sure you had the cassette?
Yeah, it was the cassette.
Am I the only one who fucking here remembers the 80s? I mean, Jesus Christ. It's like talking to
Well,
everybody
I was
who's
a
been on
bit-
acid trips for the last 20 years. Yes, tapes have 2 sides, Stormy.
Yes.
So When Doves Cry was either at the first song on the second side
Okay.
or was the second song on the second side. So
Right.
you would have had to have the tape counter. And how
Yeah.
many times did you eat your tape by doing that stupid rewind thing where you still wanted to listen to it?
I had to buy that tape a few times. I think I bought that tape 3 times.
Do you still have the tape?
No.
When did you get rid of your cassettes?
Ooh, when did I get my first CD player? You know what? I didn't get my first CD player until I was probably like 16 or 17. Put it in a car. It was a car CD player. And, back then when you had CD players in your car, they would skip all the time.
Yes.
You start driving and it would just skip. You start at one song and then you hit
You're
a
on the
bump
other
and you're
song,
on
just
another
like
song.
that. Yeah.
That's the way they worked back then. Like technology.
Because I think I held on to my cassettes for a while, and I remember buying CDs when they still were in that big long box.
Oh, yes.
For some reason, like the CD's this big, but the fucking carrier kit, because you need a handle to pull it out of the record store. Do you know what I'm talking about? They had these long cardboard boxes.
Yep.
Okay, Stormy's with me. Zoe she's still trying to remember Glastonbury.
1997, yeah. Was I really there?
And it,
Carry on.
And so they had these big ass boxes, and it was so much waste. Like you would have to tear through this like it was Christmas, and you get this little tiny CD out. And I had the cassette organizer, and and to haul cassettes around in your car was a bitch because it was like a fucking suitcase you'd have to put in your trunk, and and then you pull it out, and you put your tape player in, and then you had to get the converter where you had the tape that hooked to the CD player that sat on
Oh,
the
yes.
dashboard, and you put the tape in, and it had a wire that went to the CD player, and then, if you sneezed, the whole fucking thing
Yeah,
skipped
the
or
good old days.
whatever. Yeah, I would love to see millennials who are so nostalgic for records be like, oh my God, I just got this brand new cassette. It's awesome. Never, because it's not cool. It's not cool to be sitting there walking around with like an old school Walkman or those big yellow ones
the
with
Sony.
the fucking
yes,
antennas.
that was the Sony Walkman
Yeah, and the dial.
headphones. Absolutely.
And so you're walking and you're trying to find your radio station. That was when people listen to radio stations, y'all. And you're like trying to turn the little dial to find it, but you can't see it. And then you got to take off your headset to see where the FM stereo was, and your ears are sweating like a fucking whore in church, and then find your station and put it back on. It's just awful. It's just completely awful.
I forgot all about those Sony headsets. Those were awesome. I had one.
The yellow ones, right? They for some reason they only came in yellow.
Right there.
Yes!
Yes, there it is. Let me show you the yellow. I'll put it up on the screen. Where's my camera? Here it is.
Did you ever have that, Zoe?
No,
You didn't have those?
no.
Oh, those were awesome.
What did you guys use in Britain?
We had headsets, but they weren't that snazzy.
That's snazzy?
Yeah.
Wow.
Snazzy.
Yeah. I think you guys always get our pop music late, too, don't you? You guys are kind of a little bit behind us.
A little behind you in what way? I mean, some
Well,
would say
and
we're ahead
like
of
what
you.
I'm basically saying is, don't you guys get our leftover music all the time? No. Okay. Well, because your headset game was not
we're too busy making music. We don't, worry about the
Well, that being said,
janky headset.
That being said, there's a ton of great rock bands specifically coming out of England. You got the Rolling Stones, Black Sabbath,
The Rolling Stones
Who,
came out of England?
Led Zeppelin.
You know that, don't you?
Have you ever heard Mick Jagger talk?
Yeah, I guess you got a point there. Just didn't put two and two together.
Yeah, and then he walks around with this like flapping.
He's so ugly.
He's not an attractive man.
There you go.
He's not an attractive man. But I
guess
mean, when
the
he does a
Beatles.
strut on stage, I was like, "How is that sexy? You look retarded." He's all, with the flapping of his arms and shit. I never got it.
But there is something about him apparently that quite a lot of ladies did get.
Would you sleep with him?
No. Well, he's about 75 now, isn't he? I mean,
How about when he was younger, though?
no. I don't think so.
Mel O, what are you doing over?
She's getting her
Mel's
CD.
getting her
Get my
Right,
CD.
okay. What is it?
now,
What is it?
Now we need to transition into something good. I don't
ABBA?
know.
Is that
Sorry
ABBA?
about the first half of this whole thing.
Are you
that
not
just
a
kind of
Prince
Hey,
fan?
I
Like,
could have
I
switched
love
to Run
Prince.
DMC.
You could have.
I could have gone to Run DMC, but
Okay, so tell me something about
Yeah.
Run DMC before we get on
oh
mine.
my gosh, Run DMC were.
You open the door.
classic.
Come on. Yeah.
Well, I'm waiting for yours. We got to give you your time. I'll jump into Run
Oh,
DMC
see,
later.
no, he started talking shit until I was like, tell us about Run DMC. He's like, they were good. I'm like, that's amazing. That's
Well, I had Run DMC and MC Hammer at the same time. Those were. Those are my
MC
boys.
Hammer, everybody, got on him, but he wasn't trying to be a street rapper. He was trying to be an entertainer, and
Absolutely.
he was.
He was great.
And I would love to see MC Hammer. I've had friends that have seen him and said he was the best show they've ever seen.
Oh, I'd go see him.
Yeah. I don't know if he dances quite as fast as he used to, and it made me really upset as a white person that when I would watch You Can't Touch This, I could not move. I could not move like any of those ladies on the video, and I'm like, is it because I'm white? Or like maybe if I had been bred into dancing since I was 3, I could be able to do the same thing, or is it just that I'm a white girl and I'm just never going to be able to do all that stuff?
Oh, if that was a sample of your moves right there.
The chair is
The answer
constricting
is
me.
no. Yeah.
The
It
chair
looked
is
like you were having some kind of seizure.
Yeah.
the chair is constricting me. These
Okay.
guys don't know. These guys
Call
don't know.
911 for that.
All right, for now. So now a good CD.
Just
yes,
bust
Prince
out
is
your
very
ABBA. Just bust out your
good.
ABBA.
No, it is not ABBA.
Oh, I love ABBA though. Go on.
You would.
Yeah.
You would love ABBA. No, so mine is Painkiller by Judas Priest.
Oh, I thought it was going to be
Painkiller.
Motorhead, but okay.
Interesting.
Yeah, no, I do love Motorhead, and Motley Crue is my favorite band, but it is actually Judas Priest Painkiller. So this CD came out. So for those of you who don't know the Painkiller CD, it has a robotic mechanical guy riding a dragon motorcycle with razor wheels. It's fucking epic. And over a graveyard and a destructed city. So there you go. You can't get more metal than that. And this came out in 1990, and I was a freshman or a sophomore. And, in the 80s, it was a hair metal, right? So you had Motley Crue, and you had Poison, and, even Dokken was to a point, and even Pantera's when they came out with Cowboys from Hell were a little glammed out. But it was, the metal of the time was, spandex and guys wearing lipstick and having ratted out hair. And I always identified myself as a rocker chick. And then I saw Touch of Evil, which is their slow song on this album on Headbangers Ball. Do you guys even know what I'm talking about with Headbangers
I've
Ball?
got no clue, but
No.
this sounds really interesting.
So MTV used to have a metal that was a real metal show. Okay, so MTV played a lot of rock videos, but they weren't real metal. But then they had this one thing called Headbangers Ball,
Okay.
where Kurt Cobain, lead singer for Nirvana, showed up in an actual ball gown, like a real ball
Wow.
gown, because he said, "Oh, I thought this was a ball," and it's yellow. I think it's yellow. It's classic. I'm sure you could YouTube it. And Headbangers Ball was where they actually played real metal. That was not the commercial stuff that was going on during the mainstream. And A Touch of Evil came on, and it's a really slow song. And in there, Rob Halford is the lead singer for Judas Priest. He sings, he's like, "You're possessing me!" Like he screams it, because the one thing with Halford is that he can sing opera. For
Really?
real. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, he's fucking amazing. Him and Dickinson from Iron Maiden, they're amazing. And I saw that and I was like, oh my God. I was like, this is kind of hard. You know, I'm like, I'm going to buy this CD. Now,
Okay.
I had listened to metal. I had identified as a rocker chick. And when I bought this CD, I was in Tacoma, Washington, and I was hanging out with Lisa and Jesse and all that kind of stuff. And I bought the CD, and I'm like, this is going to be great. I'm going to totally dig it. This album is so hard that when I first put it on, I was like, what the fuck is even playing right now? And I'm not even kidding you. And I skipped to the next song just as hard. I skipped to the next song just as hard. And so then I go to Touch of Evil because that's the slower song, and I listen to it, and then I stop, and I'm like, okay, maybe I'm not a rocker chick. Like, maybe this is not actually my music, and maybe I'm a total pussy. I'm just, it's a facade. It's a fucking facade at this point. And I'm like, let me listen to it again. And so I listened to it again, and I'm like, this is fucking awesome. Like, this is fucking amazing. And so I started listening to it, and to this day, it is still one of my favorite CDs because this is the pivotal moment in my life where I realized, no, I actually do like rock music, and I do like metal music. And so, having Iron Maiden and some Slayer in there and all of the more actual heavy bands besides Motley Crue and the Dawkins that, everybody thought that they didn't have any kind of musical talent just because of the simple fact that they pandered to girls. They wanted to get pussy. I mean, who wouldn't, right? And but this was the first time that I realized, no, I am a rocker chick, and that's how I identify myself still. And this was a solidifying moment for me when I realized it. And so with the Spotify playlist to this episode, we will be loading the Prince songs from Purple Rain as well as Painkiller. And this CD will still rock your fucking socks off. I mean, it's unbelievable.
Will you be also uploading Kula Shaker's Govinda Jaya Jaya?
Yeah, if you write
You got to
it down.
put that up there.
I know.
Really?
There's so many. It's like every letter of the alphabet is in that. I don't even understand how to spell that. So yeah, you're going to have to spell it for me. But the interesting thing with Judas Priest is that the reason why this one was so hard is I didn't realize is that this album was the first album with a new drummer, and he did the kick drums with both feet, and so it made their music such heavier. And when I had heard Priest originally, it was like Breaking the Law and Heading Out to the Highway and Turbo Lover. Those are great songs, but they're not Painkiller.
Did you say Turbo Lover?
Turbo Lover.
So that sounds like Wham Bam Thank You Ma'am. I'm a Turbo Lover.
What is that from?
What is what from? I mean, a turbo lover. It sounds like you're a fast lover.
Yeah, well, he was gay, so there was actually a hidden. Yeah, he is gay. There's actually a hidden thing to it. But this album, the reason why it sounded so much harder, and since then their albums have sounded like this, is because of the kick drummer. But the thing that I found really, really curious is that I started looking up, because I hear from all of my musician friends, and you hear that the CD sales of CDs and stuff are on the decline. And so I started doing a little bit of research, and I wanted to kind of see a couple things. And I came across this article that really kind of shocked me. It's from The Verge, Verge, and it was publicized March 22nd of 2018. Let me put on my glasses, which are very stylish, by the way.
Is that what you call them?
Yeah. Dude. Oh, it looks hot. Yeah. I'm
Even
liking
if
that.
she does say so herself.
I'm liking that. If I had my hair in a bun, guys would cream everywhere. It would happen. And so they were talking about digital downloads, and they were talking about, because the thing is for musicians now, it used to be that musicians would create the CDs, the record companies would put the CDs out, they'd sell tons of copies, and then they would go on tour, and tickets would be, I remember seeing AC/DC for $22 on the Razor's Edge tour. And even then, we're like, shit, $22, because we're in high school, we're broke.
Right.
And then, the concert tickets were normal price. But now what has happened is because, actually publishing CDs don't happen anymore, really. And they're streaming music. So for each stream of music, an artist gets 0.00004
Wait. For each stream of music, 0.00004.
Like, I don't even know what percent. So basically, not even 10,
So
10, 20, 30th of a penny? Something like that.
So 1,000 downloads or 1,000 streams, what does that even translate to per 100 or per 1,000 per million? What does it take to make
so
a buck?
I have a musician friend, and he's on Spotify. And in order to make, I think it was $4,000 for the year, he would actually have to do 1 million streams in the year.
Wow.
So they don't, so nobody's buying CDs. I have millennial friends that I work with. They don't own one piece of music. They don't own a CD. They don't own cassette tapes. They don't even own things on their iPhone, because what they do is they go to YouTube and they just play music, or they listen to Spotify or something like that, and it plays music for them. So what's happened is that we've seen a decline in CDs, and we've seen concert prices going way up through the roof, because that's where they're making their primary money, and of course the merchandise. So like this Motley Crue sweatshirt I have behind me was maybe all in. I mean, it's pretty good material. The patch, let's say that the cost of goods on this is maybe $5. We'll give them $8, maybe $8. I honestly think I bought this thing for $125
For
this sweatshirt.
Whoa.
Yeah, it was either 125 or 150. So they're making up their margins on the merchandise,
Right.
and they're making it up on the fact that concert tickets are through the roof. We just saw Metallica in the end of November. Those tickets were $180-something in the T-Mobile Arena, and they fucking sucked. Not Metallica specifically. The sound was so horrible that the only tickets we could get were on the second level. We couldn't even hear them, and we kept looking at you going, what are they singing? That it was ridiculous. So as I'm reading through this, just to try to see, hey, is there, actual evidence that, CD purchases have started declining? And then I was looking at digital downloads, and that there was a paragraph in this that really stuck out to me that I was really pretty shocked about. And they're talking about subscription services. So you have, Slacker Radio, you have Spotify, and they all have their premium things where you can go ahead and you can, maybe have skips or not have
Right.
commercials or something like
Yeah.
that. So they're talking about where a lot of this revenue comes from, and they start talking about the streaming, and they're saying that for the streaming for the first time, it made up 43% of the actual revenue coming into musicians, which is crazy.
Wait, streaming for the first time.
Run
that
because
by me again. I'm lost.
so I'm
So
just
I'm a
gonna.
musician. 43% of my revenue comes from people streaming for the first time.
Well, in the industry. So let me just read you the paragraph, and you can find this online, and it's a great article. You should read it. It says, of course, both pale in comparison to revenue brought in from streaming, which has taken over the music industry in recent years. In 2016, the music industry made more than half of its revenue from streaming for the first time, and that growth continued into 2017. Last year, nearly 2/3 of all revenue, over $5.7 billion, came from streaming, an increase of 43%. So I'm sorry, it was an increase of 43%. But then the article goes on to say, first of all, I was surprised because it's so hard to make so much money from streaming. And that was one of the things that Taylor Swift was boycotting when she had her 1984 album out, I think, and she put it on Spotify, and then she pulled it because she said it was some horseshit thing about the fans, but it was really because she wasn't getting paid enough. But then the next paragraph goes on to talk about that there's limited tiered paid subscriptions where you pay for the same service, but it only plays on one device. So like the example that they put in here is that you can get a $4 subscription through Amazon, and it would only play on the Echo. So, and I just thought about the ramifications of the music industry for that. So think about it.
Is that something that they're moving to?
That's something that they just had numbers peak for the first time in the article. So people are trying to get more prioritized because, of course, they all do, they want you to buy their product to listen to their music. And apparently people listening to their music at home on these devices are starting to go through the roof.
But the sound of those devices suck.
They totally suck.
I'd rather put it on my phone and at least put some good headphones on.
Yeah, I mean, unless maybe you have it wired through your house. But this is what I was thinking. Okay, so if you have Apple Music and I don't know, it only runs through an iPad. I'm not a tech person, so actually Stormy could probably answer better. And then you have Amazon subscription that only goes through an Echo, and then you have somebody else. Now think if you're a musician, and we already know that the record labels are going away. What happens when you go, okay, Amazon has the biggest reach maybe through the Echo or whatever the case is. And so you sign a deal with Amazon and you say, I'm going to release my album to you guys. And they say, great, we don't want you to release your album to anybody else. So, for instance, like Sirius Radio, they have a Tom Petty station. I love Tom Petty. They have an exclusive song on there, and it's a fantastic song, and it is literally only on their radio station. I have Googled it. I have tried to YouTube it. I have spent hours trying to find any copy, bootleg or otherwise, of this song, and the thing does not exist because Sirius has locked down the rights to it. So now, if you're a musician, you're trying to come up, and then you go with Amazon. You have an exclusive right deal, and they take over the rights to your song, as most record companies would, and say you can only play your new album on our device. As a musician, you're totally stuck with them. You're stuck with what they pay you. All your rights are on there. And that to me was so scary.
It is scary. My wife told me the same thing. She says, I can only play my device. Oh, different story.
Different one. only play your device when she's not home.
I can only play my device on one instrument.
In a corner under the blanket.
Exactly.
With the headphones in when she's not home.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I just thought that was really interesting and was really, really scary because the thing is that the radio, nobody's really listening to the radio anymore. And that used to be what would happen is that the A&R reps would go out and they would find talent, and then they would come and they would go to the radio stations and they would say, hey, we have, Purple Rain by Prince, and we want to know how much you're going to commit to playing our song. And then what would happen is that the radio station would say, okay, we're going to commit to play Purple Rain on our station 50 times in a week or something. And then the rep would go, okay, fantastic. For that, we're going to give you 20 CDs to give away of the CD, so for giveaways, so for people to listen, and we'll give you some tickets to go see Prince when they're in Nevada. But then what happened is that all of a sudden you had all of these other companies come up where their whole goal, their whole job is to actually make radio station giveaways. So they have like hey, get it, you hear on the radio about, hey, fly to New York and see the Killers, and we'll put you up in a hotel for 4 days and everything. That what they don't tell you is that is one giveaway over the entire chain of radio stations under that umbrella. So instead of them being able to go to a radio station and say, hey, this is a new artist, give them a break, we listen to it and the program director listens to it and says, hey, I like it, we want to play it. Now that whole thing is shifted. And so now the control of the radio stations is kind of gone. And so then the last bastion was kind of the digital streaming. And now that's gone too, because if they start making exclusive things where they only offer exclusive music, then you're pigeonholing the musicians even more. And I thought that was just so fucked up. And I hope I'm completely wrong about it, but I don't think I am. Yeah, so check it out. It's a really awesome article. And listen to Judas Priest's Painkiller and Purple Rain, of course. And if you have any CDs that you think are even better.
What's the other song? Judas Priest, Purple Rain. Zoe, what's the name of the other song they need to listen to?
Kula Shaker, Govinda Jaya Jaya.
Yeah, that one too.
You know the famous actress Hayley Mills?
I don't know her, so she can't be that famous.
Well,
she's famous to Zoe.
She's famous in England. Anyway,
Okay.
her son is the lead singer of Kula Shaker.
Oh, Hayley Mills, her son. Oh,
That
got it.
one.
Kula
That
Kula.
one.
And
Hayley
Kula
Shaker.
Kula is the name of the band, or is
Kula Shaker.
Oh, Kula Shaker.
And I don't know why I'm even talking about it because I don't think I saw them. I'm just saying that's one of the other bands that were actually
were they even
there.
playing that night? Do you know?
Yes, they were. It's a three-day event. So
Right. So did
They-
that
I think they were in the
Hey.
comedy tent.
Right,
No,
exactly.
they weren't. They may as well have been with what they looked like.
I
but
still want to
sound
know what
like,
the hell's
but-
going on in this comedy tent because that was pretty awesome.
Comedy. There was a lot. I do remember some of the. I vaguely remember some of the comedy.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I'm not buying it. Oh, and one last thing before we get out of here, back on Judas Priest, because this is very important. Judas Priest does a cover, I'm going to try to find it on Spotify, of Johnny Be Good. And the original's great, obviously, but when you put Halford's lyrics and you put the guitar behind it, their version of Johnny Be Good makes me want to drive as fast as possible and punch people in the face. Every time I hear it, it is the best
that a good
fucking
thing?
cover. It doesn't matter if it's good or bad. It is what it is, Zoe. That's how it makes me feel. So, I mean, it's wonderful. You got to make sure that you look that up, and I'll add that to our Spotify playlist. Yeah. And with that, I think we're out.
Absolutely. We're out. We'll see you guys.
Cheerio.
Thanks for listening. If you like us, subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.